Hi, my name is Jody, and I'm here today to share my story with you about fasting and working with Tami at Interconnect. I'm 36 years old and I'm a chiropractor. Now, I was diagnosed with lupus in February of 2016, and prior to that, I'd been battling adrenal fatigue for 18 months. Now, health is an incredibly important part of me and my life. It's my career, it's my passion. And when I was struggling with health, and despite making lots of changes in my lifestyle and health routine, upon receiving the lupus diagnosis, I knew I wasn't heading the right direction. So I chose to do something different. As well, at the same time, I started to understand that Candida was a huge issue in my life and actually contributing to part of my lupus and autoimmunity. Candida for me is not your classic Candida. I've never actually had a yeast infection in my life. I had oral thrush, and oral thrush manifested with chronic blocked sinuses. I had a lot of sleep issues. I was diagnosed with sleep apnea, which was also contributing to my fatigue. I would have chronic skin issues on my upper arms, and my right foot would have chronic tinea, and that was actually more of a 10 to 15-year process. And was aware of some of these kind of outlying symptoms, but never really appreciated what was the root cause of that. Now, with understanding that Candida and lupus were affecting my health, I knew I had to do something different because I'd been doing all these lifestyle changes and changing things so much, but still heading the wrong direction. And that's where Tami came into my life and massively helped. I was aware of Tami's story. I was aware of how she healed her chronic fatigue and issues through fasting. And upon speaking with her and discussing what was going on, it just became clear to me that was the right fit for me. And right away committed to doing 21 days of fasting. Now, I won't say I entered into that without concerns. I was concerned of not eating and not having enough energy. Certainly not enough energy for my career and my work, not enough energy for my family, my husband. But I also love eating. I love cooking. I'm a Thermomix crazy, and not being able to do those things on a daily basis, those were barriers to me initially. But understanding that I was dealing with an autoimmune issue, I decided to face up to it and go forward. Also, Tami was able to guide me because Candida is an issue for me and has been an issue for me for a very long time. She's able to give me the modifications that were necessary for juicing so I could to allow for the Candida issues. Many people know with Candida you're not supposed to have too much sugar, especially fruit. So we were using specific types of fruit and minimal amounts of it to also allow for fasting to have the best impact. Now, my initial goal was 14 days of fasting. I didn't know what to expect. I was concerned. I continued to work my regular work schedule during this time, and that can mean 10 hours a day of woe to go, very physically impactful as a chiropractor, as you might imagine, but also quite mentally full on and emotionally as well. And I was concerned that with fasting I wouldn't have the energy to continue my work. Now, the first 2 weeks went very well. I was expecting to have things like fatigue and headache and some of those detox symptoms people get, but I sailed through that, and I felt so blessed for that experience. And with Tami, decided to do a total of 28 days of fasting, followed by 5 days of water fasting. And that was an amazing experience. And having Tami coach me through that and be there for me the entire way was the turning point for me. Now, my results went past any expectations I could have had. My energy right away in the fasting process went up. I was dealing with fatigue for so long, I was very surprised at how quickly that changed. And it was so wonderful at work because not only was I having the energy to do what I was doing, but I was becoming so much more stress resilient and resistant. Things that would really get under my skin, really stress me out, were not bothering me to the same degree. Coming home with energy, be able to spend time with my husband, and it was such a turning point. He noticed a significant difference. I felt much more clear-headed, much more clear on what I wanted, what I needed to be doing, and trusting myself, and sleeping much better at night. Also, certainly as the fast progressed, as you might imagine, I did lose weight. We didn't eat for 33 days, and in total that lost 15 kilos of weight. I wasn't too big to begin with, so that was quite a dramatic change, and that's something that's actually maintained itself since then. It's actually been 6 weeks since I've finished my fasting. Also, quite remarkably, those Candida symptoms really started to improve. That included things like less white on my tongue, a white-coated tongue, breathing better, sleeping better, the skin issues improving. My foot, that for 15 years was itchy, was going away. It was amazing. But also, after finishing fasting, I went and had my blood test done, the same blood test that initially diagnosed me with lupus only 2 months prior. And amazingly, they improved, almost to the point of being within normal range and being out of what they'd consider the active stage of lupus. My GP was floored, as was I. And in truth, I've always had that trust in my health and myself, but even this shocked me. I was beautifully surprised, and I mean, it is through fasting and Tami's support this has happened. Also, had an amazing experience reintroducing food. After 33 days, you do that very slowly, and Tami coached me through that. But it was quite phenomenal because I loved food prior and would cook. But I don't know if I'm anything like you, that you just rush eating and you often do that in between things. You barely sit down to lunch, dinner is 10 minutes, and you just rush through it. So sitting down and beautifully enjoying these foods was beyond any expectation and experience I've had before. And what's been also amazing is following the fasting. It's been almost 6 weeks since I finished my first major fast. And this week I also did 5 days of fasting myself, of juice fasting. The results have maintained themselves in much improved bowel movements. Now, I'm sorry to have to mention this, but I had chronic diarrhea before, and that was part of the adrenal issues I was experiencing. But regular bowel movements, better sleeping, continued, energy levels, but also less stress, more stress resilient and resistant, and massive clarity, feeling so much clearer headed. And that also opens the door for trusting myself more and knowing what I need and my life needs. And it's also helped me address those areas where I was still experiencing lots of pressure and stress, and help me come up with better ways to manage that. And I attribute that to being more clear-headed through fasting. And with all of this, I really don't believe it was possible without Tami's help, her guidance. It was like someone steadying the ship for you. You weren't diving in blindly to what is a major lifestyle change. It helped me focus on my health and my goals, and it wasn't simply just not about eating. It wasn't just about having juice. There's a whole array of other detox regime that I was doing thanks to Tami and her guidance. And having her there as that resource, that she had the previous experience herself, the knowledge, and that assurance. And when I got stuck at times, or something was coming up for me and I wasn't sure what was happening, she was always there to guide me through, help me focus inward on myself, and also to help celebrate the process. You may, like me, not have had many people in your life who've ever fasted before. So having her there to guide you through is absolutely phenomenal. Massive support, positive support. Now all I can say is, if this calls to you, if this speaks to you and makes sense to you, follow your instincts. That's the best thing you can do for your health. And I myself can say that Tami is a beautiful guide to have you on your journey. So I wish you the best in your health. I hope this has been helpful for you, and good luck. Thank you.